These days, you ask people, what do you do for a living? You hear things like, and I'm an entrepreneur. I personally feel that that's not, totally correct. I'll be talking to you today about entrepreneurial sparks and blues. I know that entrepreneurship has a lot of blue emotions that comes with it. Yeah, and most of the entrepreneurs out there today are definitely aware of how tough that space is. So these days, you ask people, what do you do for a living? You hear things like, and I'm an entrepreneur. I personally feel that that's not, totally correct. There has to be, a business or a job tied to it. So you could say, okay, I am a caterer, I cook for parties, or I sell food or something, I have a cafeteria, or, I make clothes or something like that, or I'm a doctor, I run a private practice. That's entrepreneurship, and it's specific, it's clear. Living in the euphoria of calling yourself an entrepreneur is just not enough. I know that in the last couple of years, let's say 10 to 15 years ago, this boss came, and then every young person wanted to say, oh, I'm not going to work for anybody, I'm an entrepreneur. And people even put it on their status online, and I'm like, you're an entrepreneur, what does that really mean? Because everyone could be an entrepreneur. A nurse, a doctor, a teacher could own a private lesson as an entrepreneurial or entrepreneurship space. Different kinds of things. A tailor, somebody that runs a car wash, different things. So you just stating that you're an entrepreneur, I don't really agree with that. It sounds like you are not sure. You are just not employed, and I think it's not the best. The euphoric feeling of pulling out of one's job and beginning to call oneself an entrepreneur is just not enough, So those are some of the things we'll be discussing today on the Sparks and Blue channel. So yes, it's important that, you are passionate about an idea. You think deeply about it, you prepare yourselves, you take time, you do your feasibility studies, and all of those beautiful things that needs to be done. And then, you delve in, which is what we all preach, which is what is expected. But I'm going to be talking to you today about the fact that passion alone is not enough on your entrepreneurial journey. Whilst passion is quite important and it's a good thing, it will help you, navigate the day-to-day struggles. It will help you, ensure that you deliver on set timelines, set targets, push you, propel you to want to keep going even when it's difficult. However, blue moments are bigger than just having a bad day. They could be emotionally draining, psychologically stressful, and then it could, just continue like that. And that is what we need to prevent. How do you then avoid, or let me say, how do you manage blue moments as an entrepreneur? How do you successfully overcome your blue moments? I think that the best way to overcome your blue moments is to, first of all, know what your sparks would be at the end of your journey. So you need to have identified the sparks that this entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial journey is going to bring to you. And identifying this is quite intense, it's quite deep. You need to do the work. You need to personally bring it out of yourself. It's not something that a coach is really going to help you formulate or come up with. Going that route will just be, somebody bringing out sort of data from you and saying, oh, this is what I think it is. That would be like a guesswork. But when you take out time, bury yourself deep in thoughts, strategically processing these ideas, you would know your why. And trust me, your why is not necessarily those information you throw around on the table to discuss. They are usually very personal to you, you sometimes quite private. There are those things that form the exact reason behind closed doors why you decided to go the entrepreneurial route. And because they are usually very important to your existence, very important reasons that are really close to your heart, so it's got weight. There are things that you don't just, throw around regular way, that say, oh, I'm becoming an entrepreneur because I want to be the boss. I'm becoming an entrepreneur because I don't want to work for anybody, or I just enjoy the feeling it gives, or I think I'll become so rich, and all those kinds of general reasons around there in the space shouldn't be what your spark is, because those things can't give you the spark. When the entrepreneurial blues come calling, trust me, you need something really big to overshadow it for you. And that is what I'm talking about today. You need something really important that is dear to your heart to enable you wait, to enable you carry on. These entrepreneurial blues come, and then you find out that the entire team could be thrown aback, could be blown away, and then everybody could really be affected. And then it becomes a situation of, how do we pull through? How do we continue? How do we sustain? The responses you would have as the one leading that team, or as the entrepreneur in that space, is what I'm talking about. So the strategy around this is that before you open your doors to entrepreneurship, or you open that shop, or you start that idea, it's important that you must have identified that spark. Because without identifying that spark, entrepreneurial blues can swallow anybody. So if you've identified the spark, the strategy of running it in your reality is this. You start off from, the euphoric feeling of being so excited. Everybody goes through that. And then you delve in, you're in the middle, and then the blues start attacking you. Now, the blues involves operations, finance, scaling, profitability, shareholders, and all of those kinds of things, partners, regulators, all those, things, all those matters that you need to, deal with. And then it's not so easy, you are struggling, the system is struggling, and all of those things. What then happens? So as an entrepreneur, what I'm advising, what I'm churning out to you today is that, quickly, as fast as you can, come out of your euphoric season. Don't dwell on it, because you could miss it. You could get carried away. So skip it as fast as you can. Yes, some other people, some other stakeholders could dwell in it, but you as the owner of the idea, just hurriedly run out of that feeling, because it is a terribly realistic space. Now you get into the real deal, where the blues starts flying around. What do you then do? People begin to fall apart. A lot of things begin to happen. Economic issues, regulatory issues, clientele, staffing, name it. Those things keep coming, and then the blues are just all over the place. So what you need to do is that you raise yourself mentally, psychologically above it, to the third stage, which is your sparks that you've identified, and begin to visualize it. Begin to see yourself in it. Your sparks, of course, sparks are beautiful things. Like you can see our color, beautiful, gives you the brightness, the happiness, and the success, and all of those things. Begin to visualize that. Begin to see yourself in that sphere. Begin to say, okay, if I can surmount these challenges, if I can have some delayed gratification, if I can do this, put this in place, put that in place, I believe that I can get to my third stage, and then I can experience the spark. That is what you need to do as an entrepreneur. And the reason why I'm saying this is because you see that middle phase where everything just keeps mixing together, and then the blue emotions are so robust and really huge, and they are beginning to drag you. It could take a while. It depends on, different factors. It could actually take a while. And then that is where they say businesses begin to fail. 3 years, 5 years, all those theories. So what do you need to do? You need to be intentional. You need to be strong. You need to wait. You need to be strategic. You need to put in the work. The blue moments could become so overwhelming and people get confused. People get thrown away. But then they say, you are the only person that can stand in those critical periods. Why? You have the spark. You are viewing it. You are aware of it. You are so sure of it. You are convinced that you are going somewhere. So that is what will give you a mental soft landing. You know that you are going through pain, but you also know that, but if I can pull through, the things I like, I'm going to begin to touch them soon. And then that keeps driving you. It keeps helping you pull through the blue moments. Trust me, the blue moments in the entrepreneurship journey is no joke to anyone. They are there. They are there. They will come. This is not, maybe a prayer thing or a religious thing. They are there and they will come. But it doesn't mean you should be blown away. It doesn't mean you should retract your idea and then you should just sell off or run away. You can actually do it by waiting a little bit, looking inwards, using a lot of different strategies. If the problem is that you need to cut operational costs, you know what to do. All of those kinds of, stuff. If you need to scale, you need to then know what to do, how to raise funding. Different, ideas can then come up. Run these things with a mindset that you are going somewhere. The spark is there. You keep looking at it. You keep, putting yourself in that idea, in that space. You will see that you would begin to get the energy. You begin to get the stamina to pull through. The reason why it has to be you is because it becomes a little bit difficult for a lot of people to get convinced. People get convinced majorly when they see the truth. They don't get convinced of the journey. They get scared, like my daily benefits could be taken away from me. How do I feed my family? That's what's priority to them. So they usually find it difficult to understand what you are saying. A lot of times when you are trying to share the vision, trying to indirectly speak about those sparks that are on the way, some of them, they listen to you, but most times it's like, who knows what this one is saying? Is this what I'm going to wait for? Please, with what I'm saying, it doesn't look like this thing is going to get there. Yes, some end up failing, but then even in those that end up failing, trust me, I've seen a lot of people that still learn so much that gave them their own spark in another space. So I'm not saying that, die in a business that is failing or that looks like it's hard. No, but what I'm saying, the message is that as an entrepreneur, you are the process owner, you are the idea owner. Don't throw yourself away when other team members are blown away by the blues. And the biggest way for you not to also fall is when you already owned a convincing spark idea waiting for you on the next phase before you even delve in. Because if you think that you are going to begin to get sparks as you start your entrepreneurial journey, you are likely joking, because aside from the euphoric initial feeling, you delve into the blues and they begin to just, skyrocket and just blow you off. How easy will the sparks come in? Yeah, maybe in between, but then the blues are more in the initial days. The blues are more, so you need to have a mental sparks that outweighs you, that you are convinced about, that you believe in, that it's part of your business plan, that you know that if this and that and this and that can be done, then I'll get here, we will get here, and then the business will succeed. So this is what I'm bringing to you today as entrepreneurs. Do not get carried away. Do not feel, I'm going to become a big boy, I'm going to become a big girl because I'm going into business. It's hard. It's not a small journey. It's no joke, but then it's beautiful. If you can, it's something that we encourage. If you can, if you believe that you have the tenacity, you have the diligence, you have the capacity to churn out quality work output, if you know that you've mastered the art of delivering quality work, then those are some of the attributes, that would enable you pull through those seasons, because those seasons could be difficult. Those blue entrepreneurial seasons are quite different from blue employee seasons. In fact, you can't compare both. The blues entrepreneurial experience is totally different from the blues you experience as an employee. They are two different things, and trust me, the blues that you experience as an entrepreneur can only be managed when you already have a mental sparks ahead of you before you started, so that you can, have something to fall back on each time you are down, each time you are struggling. You have something to visualize, you have something to think about, So that's it. And I think I sincerely encourage you that if you are thinking about entrepreneurship, you are hopeful, or you are planning, ensure that you have that thing that you are convinced about. You have that thing that is dear to you, that you know that no matter what, you are not going to let that thing go. That reason, that's why you are not going to let it down. Instead, you would rather achieve it, and then you will do all that it takes legally, all that it takes on the good route, to ensure that you achieve it. Thank you very much for listening, guys.